Please connect with me. Am I speaking into this? Bring that?
Yeah.
I tried to check away.
All right, like off, yeah, 18 minutes to the spot. You tune in to Smooth 98.1. And yes, this is the marketplace. Mondays, we talk about everything that is happening in the market, and it is also an awesome time to talk about something that, well, it's a brand new month, first off. So, yes, the Ember months of 2025 are upon us. Some people look at it with dread, but one thing is I am sure that you're also counting down to the dirtying part. Yes, looking forward to December. Before we get to the dirtying part, let's see how things actually look in this sector. And thankfully, I have graciously a guest who's going to be talking about how that's it's all going to be panning out. You're looking at dirtying in December. Have you started saving your money? Do you have everything intact? Well, we'll definitely be talking about the hospitality sector and dirty in December, more or less. Yes, today we're going to talk about Nigeria's hospitality sector as we eye the dirty December for 2025. We saw how it was and how things were panned out in 2024. How is it going to look like in 2025? A lot to unpack, right? Well, my guest already, as you can see, she's glowing. So she's definitely been doing a lot already. Her name is Morenike George-Taylor. She is the president of the restaurants, cafes, bars, and club operators. So, a mighty good evening to you and welcome. And how's your day been, by the way?
Hello, hi. I've had a good day. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Lagos, don't forget that you can also be a part of the conversation. One thing you want to do is have these numbers saved so that you can share your thoughts. The number is 0911 on WhatsApp. However, that's the platform you get to share those interesting thoughts with us. And like I said, we're talking about the hospitality sector. Oh my day. So where do I even start? And well, let's start from your neck of the woods, which is the hospitality industry. Um, Basically, what does the restaurant, cafes, bars, and club operators do? And really, are you recognized everywhere?
Okay, so the restaurants, my name is Morenike George-Taylor, and I'm president of the Restaurants, Cafes, Bars, and Clubs Association of Nigeria.
Awesome stuff.
And what actually happened was that this association was formed in the middle of COVID, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So actually, what happened was that a bunch of businesses, the government closed down all restaurants, and we all pulled together. But what you'll find is that fine dining restaurants, their interests were not exactly the same as a fast food restaurant. And they were not exactly the same as a hotel or a restaurant in a hotel. So you can imagine during COVID, guests that were staying in the hotel could actually still go to the restaurant inside the hotel. But restaurants that were standalone restaurants had to fight for their life. So it was a completely different experience. So the Restaurant Cafe Bars Clubs Association is actually open to members, and you actually have to have a dine out, like a dining space. So it's not actually for online food delivery vendors. It's actually so specific, right? Because it's actually there are peculiar things that affect that particular sector, right? So what we do is we actually do a lot of advocacy. We actually relate with suppliers. We actually put out calls for suppliers. If you want to supply restaurants, bars, cafes, private members clubs, you can actually reach out to us. And then we also employ. We employ a lot of people, and we create opportunities to ensure we relate with the government to create win-win scenarios for our members.
I like the fact that you say it's a win-win because some people think, okay, it's only for since it's for a select few, then that's where we're going to be. But I like the fact that it's a win-win for everyone. Your members across the country, though?
Yes, it is across the country.
Okay, so how often do you meet? Do you meet periodically, or do you meet to talk
So
about everything that's affecting your operations, movement, and everything else?
the restaurants, actually, restaurant owners are very busy. Not every restaurant
Oh,
owner has just one business. So they have multiple businesses, they're very busy. So we actually connect a lot online, right?
okay.
So, however, we do have physical meetings. We're having a physical meeting in September. So, yeah, we do meet up as well.
So see, literally, it's the you know that this is the time, crunch time. Everything needs to be ready before the holiday makers
Exactly.
come into town and just sort of wow everybody and like, okay, are you ready?
Exactly. Because there's so much that actually goes into it. Even in terms of our conversations with the government, I recently wrote an article where I talked about how we need more cooperation. Because you see,
Okay.
this is a period that a lot of government agencies are going very aggressive on enforcement, sealing your space. And we're always
Right.
advocating that please don't seal the space. If you have something to say, come and meet
Let's
us,
know about
contact
it.
us. Like
Right.
perhaps maybe because you always assume that, oh, they received several letters and they did not do anything. What about if it was a member of staff that didn't escalate, right? That's a training issue. So I'm having a training
Okay.
issue where if somebody did not escalate a letter that was important, and the government has formed an impression, and I'm seeing the letter, and I just don't want to respond, and then comes and closes down the business. And what about the person that paid the deposit for that day, right?
Ouch.
So we have to look at what the effect of what we're doing is on the businesses because these businesses are necessary to keep the economy alive.
Indeed, indeed. I honestly, that is important. Whenever the holiday, see, once September comes in, starts rolling, but we've just literally begun the
Yeah.
Ember month. Once it starts rolling in, by the mid of September, you already know how many people have. Sometimes you even hear that some hotels are already booked out, and you're
Yeah,
like,
to be honest,
"Mm,
yeah. Because
what?
I'm also the group chief operating officer of 355 Group. And then we
Okay.
have we have a hotel as well, which is Bella Monument Hotel. So we actually are
I'm gonna
receiving,
bill you.
yes,
Okay.
so we're already receiving December booking. So it is very popular. Yeah,
See what I mean? The holidays, if you're still thinking, oh, okay, there's still time, there's no time. You need
there's
to
no
start,
time.
looking out for those bright spots and places because you want to have a good time. It's important. Anyways, how would you describe the business environment in your sector? Is it something that's a bit of a uphill climb, or is it okay? We're here, we're not struggling, but we could do better, or it's like, oh my days, who sent me message?
I told someone today, I said that hospitality is a jealous lover.
Oh,
Because it
okay.
needs so much attention, right? So the sector is one that requires a lot of strategy and a lot of intelligence. A lot of businesses do not survive, right? They do not survive the sector. Like 355 is actually a 13-year-old brand, one of the few like indigenous Nigerian owned 13-year-old restaurants has existed for 13 years, right? But it's not easy to do that in this space. There's several factors. Number one, you have multiple taxation. Number
Okay.
two, you have labor issues, labor shortages, right? And there's like almost no access to skilled labor, right? You can train
Yes.
somebody, when you finish training
That
them,
person
the
is
person is
already.
already out the
Mm.
door, right? And sometimes they're out of the door not just because of maybe someone poached them or they did something wrong. Sometimes actually the truth is just that this person just decided that they jackpot, right? Number two, they just decided, yeah, it's true because when you're looking at upper management, it affected the hospitality space. And then number two,
Mm.
you also have theft. So
Oh
you
no,
can
that one
money
is.
is just passing through your hands. So it's not always easy to see that money and then just not take it for a lot of people. They can say, oh, if I wasn't seeing it, it would be easier. But when you see it, it's actually a lot more difficult. So you lose good stuff to theft, you lose good stuff to poaching, you lose good stuff to even just their own personal problems and surviving in Nigeria as it is right now. But you need trained staff, right?
I
One
agree.
of the things about the hospitality sector that's also great is that you don't even need any training to get into the hospitality sector. Even if you didn't go to school, you could start as a kitchen assistant. That's actually what I love about the space, right? There is so much that needs to be done there, but it's an industry that needs support, right?
Okay.
Um, Creating customer experiences is a whole journey.
Oh yes,
Nigerians
I
are special
agree.
people.
Tell me about
So
it.
their expectations from you when you actually they come into your restaurant, and some people can actually have an experience. Not everyone will leave a review and say, "Oh, look, I enjoyed this, but I would like to change this." There's a lot that we have to work on in that space. So it's a space that requires a lot of attention, but it's a space that is thriving. Because one great thing about Nigerians, when we left the country and had a good experience in Dubai, we just brought it here. So we just said, you know what, this was such a fantastic experience.
And we do here.
I'm gonna take everything I saw there and I'm just gonna put it there. So, sometimes I tell people, I said, you don't even need to travel anymore. Because I mean, in terms of the breathtaking water views in Lagos, in terms of the rooftop restaurants, in terms of the baddest nightclubs, I mean, come on, Lagos is doing something.
I'm not going to. Let me not add to that one. But here's the thing I want to be. You mentioned, and that for me is something I'm not completely certain if we receive, or at least owners of institutions receive well reviews.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken, but I'm not certain if they take this reviews and work with it, or if it's just like you said, okay, someone in the back room takes that review, they'll see it. This person wants to come and spoil our business.
Did I not just tell you that hospitality is a jealous lover? So a lot of businesses you see succeeding have an owner as such. So the owner is hovering around somewhere. You just don't know that that is the owner, right? So you're sitting down there, you know the person that's having lunch over there is the owner. So when you pass that complaint, they're not depending, well, our members are depending on the staff all the time to pass the complaint over.
Right.
We also look out for each other. So when we go to your restaurant and then, we have this experience, we're going to say this person gave their personal account number to us to make payments, and we report that because we actually have to look out for each other in the space. So what we've learned is that by working together, we can gain a lot more, but it's a very sensitive space.
I like the fact that you even said it's a joke. I agree, it is very jealous because how is it that I'm making this or my business has been able to go through all the hassles and then I'm still on top. So someone else is looking in and saying, I want that. Can I take everybody from that space and put it in mine? And that is another little devil.
It gets people really upset, especially poaching and things like that. But you see, there's something about when you have something. My mom told me a story when I was younger. So I think she had two friends. One person was really passionate about what they were doing. One person just wanted to copy. The person that wanted to copy had the money, but the person that just was passionate, she didn't have the money, right?
So
So the
just
person that was
doing
passionate, that had the money, set up everything she had in mind because she told her about it, right? But that entire structure is dead right now. But the person I was passionate about is eventually got funding and her business is still in force today, right? So it is very easy to imitate, right? It is something that is a Nigerian problem. Anytime they see that you're doing very well, just want to go and do something there. But you see, that is actually why we also needed to collaborate because we wanted a situation whereby we can actually call this person out and say, why did you do this, right? Like, I mean, I know you. Why did you do this? And ultimately, as an association, we're working on things like this because perhaps the reason why things are happening like this is because of the skills shortage, right? So that is why on our priority list, particularly as president of the association, training is critical on the list. So unfortunately, there's some things you work on that you can't be standing in misery. Guess what? I'm working on training now. I don't get to do that. But we have something really big coming and we're really excited to announce it soon.
Okay, Lagos, you and I know we can't wait, right? But we'll talk about that and more. There's one big elephant in the room we'll also talk about, and that is electricity. I know that usually just makes people want to pull their hair out, especially as business owners. You're thinking, how much am I making and how much is it sucking out of my business? But we'll talk about that after this quick breather. Lagos, you don't want to move a muscle. We want to stay here just on Smooth 98.1.
Fly Emirates to 5 destinations in the Chinese mainland: Beijing, Shanghai, Hangzhou,
went
and
somewhere
Shenzhen.
over the
Discover
weekend
new trade hubs, relaxing comfort on
oh my
board,
days,
hospitality. Explore
it was an apartment, shot that kind of thing, and we're there for
with
the weekend.
With daily flights from Lagos to the Chinese mainland, you can enjoy convenient travel.
There's no business because that's why you need to go to a hotel. Because hotels are a bit more intentional and sensitive. Shonda is a boniki. Shonda is the old boy that just saw some money, right? I can't say that on the radio, but like, so like sometimes wherever the cost of access is simply money, you can't get the best.
I agree.
Like, you don't even take picture or video as well talking. Yes. You were carried away and enjoying the conversation. Oh my goodness. I get back on it.
Yes, we are.
No more than 30 seconds. Okay.
All right, Lagos. Yes, enjoying the conversation. I'm sure you are. And my guest has been, in a way, opening things and making our see. She's been opening our eyes to things that you will just overlook, especially if you are in certain, spaces. Yes, my guest is, and well, she's still with me, anyways. I wish I could just hold her on throughout the entirety, but I'll enjoy her for as much as I can. So on Marketplace today, we have Morenike George-Taylor. She is the president of the restaurants, cafes, bars, and club operators. We're talking about the hospitality industry preparing for the EMBER months, more or less. And for those who are looking forward to dettying it, coming down and making sure that you're having a swell time, well, she's the one she's the head hunter for all the spaces that you think you'd like to go and visit. But let's even talk about electricity, because even as a regular user, someone who owns a home, and there's people always talk about how difficult it is with business owners. They're telling you sometimes looks as if they're being overcharged when it comes to electricity space. How true is this? How does it affect your businesses?
Okay, so electricity, when you so I've been a consultant in hospitality for several years, right?
Okay.
So when you're doing your costs, your operating costs, you need to factor in your electricity, right? So I told you we're working in a space where we have mostly fine dining restaurants, private members clubs. These costs are built into the cost, right? So when you come there and say, how come is a bottle of Coke? How come a bottle of Coke is 3,000 naira here? It's because we're paying for electricity, right? So it's like, you want this, but you also want to be in Nigeria and feel like you're in London, right? You want the nice view. You want the AC on from the beginning of your stay to the end of your stay. And you want someone to stand by and pour your water, open your water, give you lemon and ice for free, right? But you gotta find out that the cost have to be somewhere, right?
Okay.
And the thing is that, you see, I wrote an article in Business Day about why going out is important.
Okay.
To connect with your family, to connect with your friends, is an investment in a connection, right? We actually create a place where you can create memories. So it's not we're not selling food, we're selling experiences. But why did I go into hospitality? It wasn't just so I can be feeding people. It was so that when you're telling your story of your wedding anniversary and how you celebrated, you're also going to be talking about, oh, I remember when I actually went to one of my friends' restaurants. I went there when I had my baby shower, and I didn't know her at the time, right? So I brought out this picture from how many years ago, and I'm like, look at this picture. I actually came to her. She was actually shocked. But guess what? It's a part of my memories forever, because it wasn't about the food. It was about my friends. It was about having a baby shower for that particular baby. So what I find is that you need to understand that when you're coming to a fine dining restaurant, you need to cover these costs, right? But you see, if you are not strategic and you're just entering the market, it's a different ballgame entirely. Because when you're starting hospitality business, you also need to start with the mindset that you might not make your money back right away. Now, if you do not have
that
the
part, I
appetite,
don't think they understand, but
yeah,
yes, help expand, help shout it out to the people in the back room so they can hear
So
you.
I think that before you start counting yourself as in business, you need to be in business properly, right?
Okay.
So you must have your systems the right way, your recipe the right way. You must be selling good food. You must have good service, right? And you must have power. I brought myself, there are two problems I cannot face: light and water. So you must have water, you must have light. It's so basic, right? But when you do not have light and you don't have water, it's a very big issue, right? So when you have all these things, you now give yourself 6 months to sit down, right? To make your mistakes, have your first menu. Some people might say they don't like that. Get your bad reviews, edit what you're doing, get the new reviews in place and everything, and choose your positioning, right? These costs are nothing when you are strategic, but they are everything when you're not. Yes, you have to make some mistakes, right? So you must factor the cost of those mistakes in your. But the problem is, where do you find the patient capital? Because investors are off your ass.
Investors are not sitting down. No, they want return on what they have given you money. I've given you time. What do you mean by it's not? No, please.
No, but you need to. That's why I'm saying that right from the onset. So the
Right.
moment someone tells you that, oh, can we save money by not putting on the AC at this time? Like, no, like, what do you want us to open? Do you want us to open like a booker? Do you want us to do an
Okay.
upgraded booker, or do you want us to have a fine dining restaurant, right?
Mm.
You know, in a fine dining restaurant, there are things that go without saying. You wouldn't
Mm.
expect to be using a fan to be fanning yourself, and then the
No.
water is 3K,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
So I'm just giving an example. So it has to be a certain
Everything
standard.
has to
And so
the
to have that
package.
standard, you have to pay a certain price.
Right.
So even if that price is something you can only pay when you get paid, this is salary week. It's a nice restaurant and enjoy yourself, yes. But it's a way to reward yourself for working hard. It's a
Right.
way to leave Nigeria without leaving Nigeria. What can't you get in Nigeria? Chinese, Japanese, Thai,
Yeah.
sushi.
Mm-mm.
I mean, some restaurants even make sushi. Like you go for a sushi making class,
Mhm.
you know. Minus the fact that you actually have many of our ethnic meals coming up as well, where they actually be making the amala in front of you, right? All in the luxury of your space and everything. So
You're
I
not
feel
having to smell the smoke, so it's
that's,
okay.
that's what I'm saying. So it's an experience for you. So these costs of electricity need to be built in. But if the business is young, you need to have the muscle to absorb some of the hits that are going to come in the beginning,
Right.
right? Because you don't just go into a business believing, oh, it's going. If you tell your don't worry. After 1 month, which 1 month? Well, to start a restaurant, you don't need to go to business school. So a lot of people have learned the hard way. You know, I've lost a lot of money in hospitality before I learned what worked. So I can tell you that I definitely understand. I mean, during COVID, my restaurant was closed for 6 months, right? And I think just before that, I had just taken a loan of 5 million naira. So you can just imagine 5 million naira loan once, then 1 week later, bam, restaurants are off. And there were so many lessons from that. So I had to learn like how to adapt. Because if you actually look at hospitality, it is changing right now.
Every day
So what?
something is new. And if you're trying to outdo the person who's started it, you have to come, as I say, you have to go big or go home. So if you're not ready to go big, that's not you're going
So
home.
should electricity be the first thing on your mind? I mean, when there's so many other things. How about theft? Theft is one of the things you should be worried about. Transfers to personal accounts. The customer will see, do not transfer to personal account. Customer will say, go and transfer. Say, sir, why did you transfer to a personal account?
But how am I supposed? Well, true.
There's
You
a
already
sign.
have a
There's a
business.
sign that says, do not
Yes.
transfer to
No, but you
personal
already
account.
have a business. Well, most people are coming out, and if they see that I'm like transferring to a personal, it's a business. I want to say the business, and that is even the riskiest thing because if it falters, how do you get your money back? Especially for people who say, "Okay, so I didn't get the service." You can't get any refunds.
Sometimes some people are even accommodating to think, okay, maybe you made a mistake, but I feel like the guests also need to be considerate of the restaurant and just pay to the restaurant account because I don't think there's any restaurant owner that will tell you that please be paying to my staff. Nobody's gonna say that after investing millions of naira.
If they're still doing that in this time and age, I'm wondering.
They'll just say the POS is not working.
That's what.
The POS is not working, so I don't want you to do transfer and it doesn't work. So please, can you just do it?
Can you call the manager?
Manager is not around. So it's something that people actually have to pay attention to because
Okay.
it's you at risk because they've probably inflated your bill as well.
Oh, that's so. I saw a lady who also called out, sales reps at certain sports where she goes to buy groceries. That's another.
Yeah.
See, that's another devil. But let's come back to December, right? Sometimes I look at it as if this I don't know. I'd like to say only December is the time where most people look forward to, especially in the hospitality sector, as opposed to Easter or any other public holiday. Is that true or is that a notion?
So I think that December is the best. Literally, it is the best. It
Counting
is
out
the
the year,
time.
more or
Yeah,
less.
it is. It is the best. It is the
Mhm.
best. It's like a hands down no brainer. It's like almost all hotels are full. It's like almost every restaurant has something going on, and you have people filling these spaces because a lot of people are coming back to Nigeria.
Oh, yes.
December is a time that a lot of people
I did.
Exactly, you know, and then even people that are home have saved up to spend in December, right? This has actually been a very tough year for a lot of people. So a lot of people are not spending money the way they spent money before. And if you even look at the purchasing power, right? People are purchasing a lot less in the luxury space. However, in December, people are willing to splurge a little and spoil them. So that's why January is usually very unforgiving.
I agree with you. But most people look at Lagos as the center of everything. Like that's where dominance exists in your sector. Are there any other states that are actually trying to catch up, or do you think that they will ever catch up?
Okay, whether they will catch up is another question, right?
Okay.
Were there other people that do? So the annual general conference of the NBA just held in Enugu. Were they in hot? So you can imagine, like, I was looking at the kind of, yeah, I can imagine I was looking at the kind of restaurants they had and so many amazing things like hotels and everything. I look also at Akwa Ibom as well. I look also at Calabar. I look at Tinapa. I look at even Ibadan specifically. Ibadan is a place that you should watch out for because they have so much going on. You have lovely hotels coming up everywhere. So now, what do you say about Lagos? Lagos is actually ahead in other ways. How many banks are in Lagos? How many airports are in Lagos? You know, there are other reasons why Lagos actually stands out as a location because you want to go where the customers are with the purchasing power to purchase what you want.
Like they just might not purchasing power, but sometimes you see those things in hidden places. They actually are the ones that make it more interesting.
So I won't tell you it's more interesting, but it's interesting enough, right? Because even in somewhere like Ogun State, they have this amazing Chinese restaurant that actually is absolutely amazing, right? And when I went there, the prices are not Ogun State prices, but the food is world class, right? So I was happy to pay. So what I find is that different states still have things going for them. Like even in Ibadan, like you have loads of beautiful places, right? Very, very beautiful places. And I think other states are catching up. It's just that it can't be as fast because Lagos already has an advantage. Lagos has population, Lagos has purchasing power, and then Lagos has, if you see, one thing that will improve tourism in Nigeria is improving our road networks.
Yeah, I agree.
So the moment you can go between states easily, then people would be more inclined. So even that's why things like the train, right, also helps places like Ibadan, right? So you can just take a train to Ogun State, take a train to Ibadan and all that. And the train is actually very luxurious and very, yeah, it's a very nice trip. I really love the train.
Yeah. So, what's your overall outlook in Nigeria within your sector?
I think that it's a it's a great sector to be in, but it's a very difficult sector to be in because there are several things that you're competing with. And this is why actually I called for dialogue with the government. Even today, I spoke with LIRS because I believe that if we do not get support from the government, we are going to suffer and go under for in this period. And we need the government to work with us. I really appreciate the Ministry of Tourism in Lagos because I mean, we have conversations. How can we bring all these people? Because sometimes you have so many people coming to your restaurant. First person with this paper, second person with this paper, third person with this paper. Can we get them together and then get them to just come at once so that we can focus on the other problems that we have? You know, so that is a major issue that we need to address as well as double taxation. So, but that enforcement part where we have to take our time as a business owner, they're planning so many other things on your plate. You just have to come and deal with this. We need to get that under control. But and that's why I had that conversation because I believe that from these conversations we can actually make changes. It's not about the conference. It's not about sitting and saying, oh, this, but what actually happened exactly after, right? And that is really one of the key things for me in 2025. In this sector, I also believe that training is very key, right? Before joining 355, I've been a consultant and I have done a lot of trainings for different businesses in the hospitality space. And I can tell you that there is a major skills gap in understanding. So I'll give you an example. We take so many things for granted. You know, when you walk into a restaurant, do they pull your seat back for you? Are you expected to pull your seat back, right? So when you sit down and everything, if you look tired, do they offer you a glass of water, right? And then if you do offer you a glass of water, do they ask you if it's room temperature or cold? Do they ask you one ice or lemon? When they bring the water, do they ask you before they open it? And do they ask you before they pour it? If you've had that experience or they give you a hot towel to wipe your hands, you will know that you didn't buy only food today. There was something else that happened in that process. So it's difficult to create that when the person is coming from a place where they do not even have a toilet, for example, right? If they're coming from a place where they don't have lights, a lot of hospitality owners have opted to provide accommodation, provide staff meals, right? Provide HMO to make sure that this person can actually provide this level of, because if they're not taken care of, how are they going to give your guests that experience? So training is actually a major thing that we need to work on in that space. And the third thing I would say we need to work on also is just I think that we can work on just more awareness. So I feel like people can be kinder to the restaurants. So like everybody's a critic, but you know it's so easy to destroy, and it's harder to build. So give people a break. Like maybe that restaurant that particular day, send them a message on Instagram. Like if you had a bad experience, send them a message on Instagram to be sure that the owner is actually aware that this is what's happening in their space. Because some of your complaints might die with the manager. Like once you get to the manager never escalates. But if you send a message, a lot of owners watch their Instagram. So if you actually sent a message with what your experience was, you probably get more attention as to like, okay, hey, look, something actually happened here. So just giving feedback and being kind about that as well.
All right. Well, that has been an exciting experience, and thank you for all that insight. So someone who's trying to get into the hospitality space, your sector to be specific, how can they reach out to you? Is there a social media handle that they need to go send an email to, and then they'll follow through on that?
Okay, so what you can do is if you actually search for me, Morenike_GT on Instagram, you'd see me, or you saw me on LinkedIn, Morenike George-Taylor, you could also see that.
Okay.
And then the RCBC Association is also online. So you can actually just search for RCBC Association. You also see us. We have a website, and then you can send an email. So particularly, we are also interested in people that want to set up spaces, how we can offer support. We actually do knowledge sharing. So we can tell you that, oh, these are the things, lessons we've learned. You can ask, oh, how did you handle this in your business? And you have people that have had businesses for years willing to answer your questions. Yeah, not as consultants, but as people that feel your pain. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel that we offer a lot of support there. So if you reach out to us on Instagram, or if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, definitely we can have that conversation.
Right, Lagos, that's how we dropped it on the marketplace. It's been very, very insightful. I have enjoyed the conversation. Okay, but I'm looking forward to keeping Morenike here, but we'll see how that pans out. But as always, you don't want to move a muscle. There's so much more lined up for you, music wise, and everything else in between.